Get ready. The Insight NBA team is in the arena, bringing you the ultimate play-by-play on who's hot and who's not to help you win your leagues and dominate your mates. You're now hooping with your hosts, Matty G, Skiddy, and Malley for the Insight NBA show.
G'day, legends, and welcome to the Inside NBA show. And it's Pimp My Guys again on your Thursday night or Friday, whenever the hell you guys are watching this. But welcome, I'm Skiddy IFS, where you can find me. I'm joined by my main man, Liv_my_fantasy. Malley, how are you, bros?
Doing very well. Got another new jersey for you, mate. That's 2 in 2 weeks.
Woo!
I'm a little Tampa Bay jersey. It's cute. Yeah, it's flash, I know.
I thought for a second it was like a midweek basketball team kind of like made up jersey, but geez, that is fresh with the Raptors Raptor on that. That's very
look at him. That's my style, man. Like he's relaxed.
He is, yeah, chilled out. He's just a chill guy, you know.
He's just he's just a chill dude.
I don't know where that meme came from, but my God, has it taken over?
Me neither.
Unreal.
Yep.
But what has taken over, my man, is the man that I want to talk about to kick off this show. Do you know who the number one fantasy player this week in fantasy basketball was?
Well, I can take the 5 or 6 guys that we're going to talk about tonight off. So what's that narrow it down to? About 300?
Yep, roughly about that. Yep.
No, it'll be someone who's played one game. Is it Collier? Is it someone like him? Someone who's just gone bananas in one game?
It's not Collier. It's a guy that's played one game. That's right. It's Keaton Wallace from the Atlanta Hawks is the best fantasy player this week.
Yeah, look at that. And I reckon, honestly, if you didn't know Trey was out today and you were just perusing the box scores, you would have looked over that because it was a Trey line. He was like 35, 6 steals, all of it. Yep. Percentages, threes.
27, 4 threes, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, 100% from the free throw line, 56 from the field, only 1 turnover. Oh, my God, get the man in the lineup.
Yeah, that's very impressive. I don't know where he came from, but the chances of that happening again are slim and none. But there you go.
Hey, he does all right. That's Cason Wallace's brother from the Oklahoma City Thunder, so shout out to him.
If you picked him up today, you can just stop this show right now because you know more than we know.
Big tick. You've done absolutely fantastic work. But one person that also do fantastic work, damn straight, that is the Standard Squeeze, our day ones. Promo code IFS15 for 15% off everything of your whole order in there. You know me already, 4-in-1 in hand, as always. Beer, cold at night, coffee, warm in the morning. You can get the hats, you can get the shirts, you can get whatever you want. They are our absolute legend day one. And, of course, they bring it to us because we're going to have a quick look at the schedule for the rest of the week, Malley. We had the 11 games on today. We've got the 5 tomorrow, 9 on Friday, 6 on Saturday, and then 7 on Sunday. A nice week to finish off with a bit of streaming services, Malley.
Yeah, sounds good. And we've got who's going back to back OKC. So and then I see they're having some little injury woes themselves with Hartenstein a bit banged up. So I guess that's good for. I wasn't going to play the other Wallace tomorrow, but I think I might put him in there now. I know he's a long way from the center position at the 2, but that's just a bit more work for him to do. Maybe some more time out there, so he can. I think I got rid of Ben Simmons and put him in my lineup.
Good, that's a good idea. Ben Simmons is doing my bloody head in, but Hartenstein could be an injury worry. Is it just because they're versing the Cavs and last time Mobley and Allen destroyed him? Well, who knows? But still, no. Cason Wallace definitely is the pick up there. You could even have a crack at Lou Dort if you really had to, because they'll play small ball. But Malley, here on Pimp My Guys. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the show where we stick a rocket up your players' asses to make sure that they do better in their fantasy weeks. We just target guys that we see that we need to be able to pump up. And as we always do, We hold ourselves accountable. And last week was a beautiful week, seeing nothing but green, Malley. Brunson, 123-19. Mitchell, 172-24th. Vassell, our boy that we were very, very hopeful on, 179-46. Şengün, 184th to 147th. Granted, he did shoot 40% from the free throw line. 50% from the free throw line this week on very big volume. So that sucks, but everything else back up, so we like that. Pritchard, 211th to 137th. And Norm Powell, 224th. And before today's game, he was second. He drops down to 12th in the 75,000-point blowout win that they had over the Nets today.
Panicked about him with Kawhi coming back, and I mean the slowest rollout of Kawhi ever. I guess that might calm you down a little bit today and over the last week. So yeah, panic stations disengaged.
Yeah, I agree there, mate. So that was very, very nice to see. So we'll crack into Pick My Guys this week, Malley. I'm going to give you the first one here. It is the defending champion, not the finals MVP. It's the other one. Jason Tatum from the Celtics, ranked 123rd this week. For the season, he is 7th. 23 points per game, 11 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 0.3 steals, 0.7 blocks. 2.7 threes, 72 from the line, which is very unlike Tatum, 41 from the field, 4 turnovers per game, still keeping up with his same usage. I think it's just been a down week for the Celtics, but what do you think of him, Ellie?
The usage staying the same has probably been a negative for him because they're still letting him do everything and you just can't do it. He's not the only Celtic we're talking about tonight. And I mean, you wouldn't have to look at the last couple of games and how they've gone to be able to connect the dots on this one. But yeah, it's a little bit tragic. He's still, he's going to be a number one pick. And I'd say overall, you've probably been fairly happy with what he's been able to do. He's a guy that's flown under the radar for a guy who's on the best guy on the defending champions team. Obviously, they're not record holders. Division record holders at the moment, so that probably quiets things down a bit, especially while we're having these big bang-ups against Cleveland and OKC. So any news that's not that probably takes the back seat. But I'd say those percentages obviously trash. The assists, well, they're not going. They're in a sour spot because no one on his team could hit any shots besides Porzingis. So I think maybe he just needs to get the ball to Porzingis a little bit more often. But yeah, it's nothing to worry about. I'd say your best player in your team's allowed to have a quiet week. Hopefully, it's not one you need to win, or you're still winning despite what he's been able to produce for you. But yeah, those percentages are woeful. I mean, he's not for a guy who spends a lot of his time at the line, he's not a marvelous free throw shooter. Yeah. But there's a lot of guys in the league at the moment who were a high percentage guys who were getting to the line and just not providing those high percentages. Like the other one I can think of is Trey. Like he's like a bang on like 78% shooter at the moment, which is kind of harmful if you're an owner like me and he's going to the line 8 to 10 to 10, 12 times a game. It's it stings you. But
I agree that he'll be right. Look, the percentages are down. The other thing that's down is his steals. He's averaging 1.2 for the year, and they're down to 0.3. And honestly, watching that game today against the Raptors, lack of effort, and that's what it was. The Celtics did not give a shit. They did not try like they normally do. I understand that one of the starting lineup guys is sick, so that kind of implements a little bit there. But Tatum, like they just weren't trying as hard as they normally do. Yeah, obviously you're going to hit that low spot after a long season, then the Olympics. So I think Tatum will be fine. Nothing to fully worry about. 7th-ranked player overall this season. So I think he'll be okay. We move along. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, you also wonder too, from a coaching perspective, and it's probably a little bit hard for us to make predictions, but it's something interesting to think about. Does this cause, Missoula to start to sit these guys like they did last year? Because you can see that the tread's, worn down a little bit. Or does it go the other way where it's like, yikes, we need a win. Let's get all hands on deck and get a couple back in the wins column. What do you reckon? I mean, if you had to cast the roll the magic 8 ball, what do you reckon would come up?
Well, the hard thing is that they're 7-7 in their last 14 games, so at 50%. And surprisingly, when they've had their whole starting five and the whole unit available to play, I'm pretty sure they are under 500. Like they have lost more games than they've won, which is very surprising for a Boston team that's so stacked. So I think it's, a bit of fatigue. Obviously, a lot of them played in the Olympic campaign as well. So, I think they just need to get their feet under it. They need to just get a couple more motions because a lot of times they'll be like, hey, let's just shoot threes. And then, oh, no, we don't have anything else. Or we'll just have Tatum and Brown drive to the hoop. And then they cry when they don't get a foul called. And then everyone else stands there and goes, what the hell? But no one gets back on defense. So I think they'll be all right. They just need a little bit more of a polish and a bit of rest, and I think they'll be right. After the All-Star break, they'll come out firing, that's for certain.
And you fixed up Pritchard, so, that's it. I think there's a little bit left for the Celtics.
That's right. Unfortunately, they don't have much else bench besides him and Horford, but that's all right. We move to Memphis. So, sorry, Matteo. We apologise, my boy, but we're going to do Ja Morant. Actually, why are we apologising? You're welcome. He's going to play better from this. Ja Morant is ranked 182nd this week. Season, he's 94th. He's averaging 22 points per game, which is up, so that's good. But the rebounds and the assists, rebounds at 3.8, assists 5.8, steals are up to 2, so that is inflating his rank. Blocks at 0, threes at 1.5, free throws 71, down badly. A field goal at 43, only slightly down. Turnovers well up at 4.5, and the usage is actually up at 33.1. Malley, I'm still liking the fact that the reason why we drafted Ja where we did, and we knew that he does have some deficiencies when we talk about fantasy, is that he's scoring. He's still scoring, but the thing that we need from Ja, it has to be scoring and assist to be the point where we took him around the 50s, 60s. We need these assists to come back up, and they are down and hurting.
Yeah, you see that Bane's doing a lot more of the ball handling, so that's probably problematic. They're also just fast break machines, so I think they just don't. They don't. The assists are kind of down just on that mark. They've got a good assist center in Triple J, but he's been able to do it in the past with these guys, so it's not like there's been a big roster change and he's losing out. It's interesting. The turnovers are obviously killer. That looks like my stat line when I play the kids at school, where I get the rebounds and just kindly hand it to whatever kid's on the other team right next to me. I'm just I'm triple doubled points, rebounds, and turnovers. But I think the hurtful thing for a guy like him is these are his statistics on the games that he's playing. For a guy who misses so much time for different reasons, and he's been a good boy this year. It's not even like he's been in the naughty corner. It's just because he gets banged up. And I mean, the way he plays, where he just runs in and leaps into the air and hopes that he lands on a soft part of his body or a soft, teammate or crowd member or cameraman. So you really want those statistics to be a little bit healthier than that, because he's got to make up for the days where he's getting his zeros. So he's sitting on your in your IR, or in a league I'm in, sitting in a spot potentially that you can't a playing position, you can't put him anywhere else. So he will be better. The Grizzlies have been an interesting team this year to watch, because that's probably the problem. They've had a couple of close games recently, and that might be where everything falls apart, because they've been doing a lot of blowing out or getting blown out until the last probably fortnight. And, they had to play Rockets a couple of times in there, and, that's second and third, interchangeable there in the standings. So that probably changes things a little bit too. But, we'll see what happens. Hopefully things kind of go back to normal. They've been much like last year, where unfortunately they've had so many guys in and out of the lineup. Ironically, touch all the wood, that Triple J's been there, kind of like solid linebacker. But
absolutely. And the other thing that I want to say about the Grizzlies for Ja Morant specifically is that they are currently scoring the most amount of points in the NBA per game. So they are going out of their mind. This last week, you're right, they did play the Rockets, who have, I think, the second or third best defense in the NBA. So that did slow them down a little bit. So I think Ja will be back. I'm just a little bit cautious when we're talking Ja, that they haven't had a fully healthy team. They've had at least 4 players on the injury report every single game. Granted, some of them are bench role players, but they like to roll their role players out every here and there. Like GG Jackson would be getting time, Williams as well. So now that, and Smart's out as well. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on Jar, but yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's hope this continues. We need to get him back. We move over to New Orleans, and this is an interesting one here, Malley, because it's CJ McCollum, ranked 184th for the week, 99th for the season, averaging 17.5 this week in points, 2.8 rebounds, 3.8 assists, which is tied for the year, 0.5 steals, which is down, 0.8 blocks, which is up, 2.5 threes, which is down, free throw percentage, 62.5 on 4 attempts a game, field goal percentage, 37 field goal percent on 16 attempts per game, which both just kill you. Turnovers are down, which is good at 1. And usage is down. And this is the thing that we want to talk about with CJ McCollum. Usage down 26.8 to 23.9. Where are we going with CJ?
Yeah, and I guess it's much the same story as it is in Memphis, where this team has just had different people in all the time. You know, you've got Zion in and out, and obviously that takes a lot of usage away from CJ, who at the start of the season we didn't even know if he was going to be in the starting lineup, let alone, you know, potentially the highest scorer. A fortnight ago, he nearly put up a 40-point game. He had 38, and then a couple of games before that, he had a 50-piece. So, you know, he was probably a sell-high type dude a fortnight ago, and he's gone from that to needing some life support on our recovery show here. So, yeah, he's an interesting guy. I don't like guards that don't hit their free throws. I mean, if I'm going for a guard type build, he just disappears. I don't care how many points you get me. If you go into the line and you're suffering that badly, it's no good. But I mean, if you had a big guy, and I mean, even if you had a big build where that probably doesn't matter, he still doesn't get enough defensive, statistics. The field goal percentage is not wonderful. You know, he's not like before this last fortnight, he's not like a Derek White, someone who can go, 50 plus. So yeah, he's one, we're getting, I feel like as the list goes on this afternoon, I'm getting more and more worried.
Yeah.
We're going to need a lot of magic this week.
I feel like we are too, mate. But the thing about CJ McCollum is that this year he's been shooting 44% from the field, which is actually pretty good by his standards. Down to 37 really hurts. And then the free throws have been horrible all year for a guy that's been such a good shooter. He's under 70% for the year, which is absolutely horrid. So I agree with you there. You want your shooting guard to be able to get free throws if they're going to get them in. The thing I worry about with CJ is Zion is a ball handler. Ingram, when he comes back, can handle the ball. Murray can handle the ball. I think it's going to relegate CJ to a spot-up shooter. And being a spot-up shooter that can't get me rebounds, can't get me assists, can't get me steals, can't get me blocks, and I have to rely on him to score points and shoot threes, I may as well just get Duncan Robinson. So, that's what I'm starting to worry about, a bit of what's going on here with CJ. But we go across to a guy that won today, but the numbers are a little bit down, and you can see a glaringly obvious reason for this. R.J. Barrett for the Raptors, 249th ranked this week, 156 for the year, 16.8 points per game, 6.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists. So that's been the good thing about RJ this year, is that he's been able to get good counting stats now from coming over from the New York Knicks. Steals are at 1.3, blocks are at 0.3, threes are at 1. His free throw percentage, as you can see there, is absolutely atrocious at 43.8%, and that is on about 4 attempts per game. Field goals are at 44, turnovers 3.5, usage at 27.8, which is slightly down. Are you worried at all about RJ, or is it just a free throw thing that you don't?
Yeah, I mean, the assists and rebounds are still good for a team that, had their point guard back for a short while, and now Quickly's gone again, which is a bit of a shame. He's also obviously out there playing with Scotty Barnes, who does both those things pretty well. So all things considered, like, the rest of it doesn't spell that poor a story. You always got to have concerns when field goal and free throw percentage are the exact same. That's never good, especially when neither of them is above 500. If you're getting if you're 500% field goal guy, you can be excused if that's the exact same number you've got from the line. But yeah, I mean, it's the story. It's the same kind of story as we've just looked at with Memphis, or we've looked at with New Orleans. This is to be the third team up at the moment where everything's just so wild. Things fluctuate each game with who's able to play.
Yeah.
I'd love to see their prospective starting lineup, which I guess is quickly Barrett,
Dick.
probably Dick, and then
Barnes
what's
and
his
Podol.
name, Pirtle and Barnes. How many minutes have those guys played together this year? It must be single bloody digits. It wouldn't be much.
Yeah, it'd be sweet FA. So, yeah, they need to get a bit more run. I mean, there was no quickly today, but they look good today. I think, there's a lot of mouths to feed. RJ has his game, but I think he's working pretty well with Barnes. Their 1-2 is really nice. He can go off the pick and roll pretty well with Podol as well. I just worry about when Quickly comes back because Quickly does demand a bit of the ball. The usage did drop, but if RJ hit the same amount of shots that he had, he was down. He's at 22 for the year, and he's at 16 this week. So we bumped that back up.
Yeah.
The counting stats are nice as well. So I think RJ can continue to be RJ.
And maybe this is a little bit of a spook that you need to remember who RJ can be when he doesn't play well and when he goes back to playing New York Knicks style of basketball. And maybe this is a game just to store this in your memory and go, right, when he can string together 2 decent games where he either doesn't get to the line or he gets to the line and he can put them down, and the turnovers aren't so tragic. Steals looked all right there, so that's probably not too bad. But when he can put together a couple of games that he does all right in, maybe that's time to start fishing and having a look what's out there and what you can get for him. I guess again, potential shutdown risk might spook some people, but because he's always someone. He's a man after my heart because I like my guys who can do a little bit of everything. He's the master of none, but the jack of many, as they say. I think he said that like bloody Yoda. I said it absolutely backwards.
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, you run it like Yoda.
That's all right. I got there in the end.
Absolutely fine. Well, we can talk about this one. Yoda thinks this guy sucks. Hell has happened to him. This is woeful. Ranked 256 this week, season 90th. 4 points per game this week, 7 rebounds, which is down, assists at 0.5, steals at 0.5. Thank God he got a block, otherwise it would have been heaps worse. No threes, didn't take a free throw, field goal at 40% for a big man that's 7'1", and his stature 40. 2 turnovers per game, so he's trying to pass, but he's not doing very well at it. And usage is at 12.9, so it's down from 18.9. Look, I'm worried here about Ayton because his minutes are so far down, and I don't know if it's because Chauncey Billups is saying, look, he just doesn't give a shit like he did in Phoenix. He wants to get the hell out of Portland now. They have a capable backup center in Donovan Clingan and then Robert Williams when they both need to play. He needs to pull his goddamn finger out.
There's not many players who do less with what he's got, from the team he's on, for the coach he has. Yeah, 100%. At least Ben Simmons tried to put excuses around it. This guy's not even trying. He just looks lazy. He looks like someone who'd have a really messy bedroom. He's a pizza and pizza box from last week on the floor type of dude. It's I know that's not a fantasy statistic, but yeah, a little part of your heart does go into the players in the game. It always, for like a Mikal Bridges, let's say. I know who he is, I know what he does in fantasy, and I see his value, but you still see the person behind that because the little icon of their mug's staring at you all the time. And I feel like it's the same with Ayton. I'd say he had a really interesting end to last season where he went all right and he avoided some of the shutdown, unlike some of the other guys, that we know are shutdown risk, and that put hope in people. But yeah, he's been utterly disappointing this year. But we'll see. I'd say you're going to have to do some special kind of magic to get him up this week. But then again, when you're down that low, he might accidentally get 2 blocks in the next week, and that might sort him out. Your usage is nearly at less than 10%. That must be
really less than Gobert. What?
Yeah.
And the Wolves were
except
genuinely
Gobert
trying to not give him the ball, and he somehow almost has less usage in it. Yeah, and it's really funny to think about when we think back that trade where it sent Ayton over to the Blazers, and the best player out of that trade is Tamari Kamara. Like, that says a whole lot about Nurkic and Ayton, because boy, oh, wowee. And this has been unbelievable, Mally. I had a look at this today because I was like, God, I swear the last times that I've watched him, he's been shithouse. And this whole week, Derek White, I'm sorry, everyone knows how much I love Derek White, but that's an absolute stinker of a week. 275th for the week. Season he's 43rd. 5 points per game. 5. 1.7 rebounds down from 4.3. 2 assists from 4.2. His steals 1.3, which is up, so that's good. His blocks are down from 1.2 to 1, so that's still all right. Free throw percent at 85 on 2.5 attempts per game. 17% from the field, Mally. 17. That's right. He averages 7.7 shots per game this week. 17%. Turnovers at 1.3, which is down because his usage is down from 19.6 to 16.1. Now, I do want to preface this by saying Derek White was ill at the start of the week. I don't think this illness should have taken all the way to today. But hopefully he recovers better, but still needs that rocket, because I don't think there's ever a time when I'm ever going to be able to rocket Derek White.
And then if you look a little bit closer, not only is it 17% that he's shooting from the field, that's 0.05 from 3. So, so that like if you dig a little deeper and see, I mean, most of his points and most of his shots are from the 3. That's just what he has to do on this team, is defend and then shoot threes. Basically a 3-and-D wing in a guard's body. But yeah, as you said, the steals are still there, the blocks are still there, but he's just being absolutely punished by the shots that he's taking and not making. And I feel like a bit of a mug. You'll like this trade. So I put together a trade in one of my leagues the other day, and I moved Derek White and Dante DiVincenzo, and I got back Jalen Williams. And this was after his one rough day, and the bloke I traded for, my mate, he was like, "Oh, geez, this is a rough time." And I said, "Don't worry. Look how good he's been. He's got his one out of the way," which he was still on my team at that point. I said, "I've taken the blow for that. Now you get him. He'll be in your lineup in 2 days' time, and he'll be back to being good." And then he's had 2 stinkers. The other biggest irony is that I kind of threw Dante in as a bit of like a sweetener, because Jalen Williams and Derek White aren't that far different in what they're producing. I think they were like maybe Jalen Williams sits 6 spots higher on the season or something like that. Yep. But I got Dante, and I was like, look, that'll make the deal. That's what got him over the edge. He's like, all right. And then Dante's been amazing. That guy's been like, he's holding that team together. He's been so. It's just ironic that the dud in the deal was Derek White, and the absolute stud in it was Dante DiVincenzo.
That's the way that it goes sometimes, and that's how we do. And a couple of weeks ago as well, when we were talking trades between me and you said, "Oh, you can just drop Dante." I was like, "No, I've always got the faith in Dante." What happened a week later? He was the starting point guard for Minnesota. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you've done. You did well. Yeah.
Also, too, we're gonna have to revisit that, because I think a week after that, Beal got demoted to the bench as well, so that looked bad.
It's been a bit tragic, and then you got Zion back, and then he couldn't catch a plane on time, so they've had to sit him. So yeah, it's been a funny old deal. So we'll see how that one plays out in the end.
It's just how it goes, unfortunately. But let's do the rapid fire. Would you hold? Would you sell? Or would you drop? We're starting with Jason Tatum, Malley.
Oh, yeah, hold on for your life like you're in the middle of the ocean and you're holding onto a plank of wood.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no chance that I would be looking to sail off from Tatum. I'm very happy to keep him. How about Ja Morant?
That's an interesting one. I think at any time you can sell Ja Morant, because people just love him like he's a cool guy and he has guns. So I think, I wouldn't have got him in the first place, because he's kind of done basically what I thought he'd do, and he's played about the same amount of games as I thought he was going to. He'll be better than this, though. Like, you just look at all those oranges. I mean, besides the blocks, which are that's not really part of his game. But rebounds, assists, they'll go up. The percentages will be fine. So my message about him is always sell because, he's a guy that people pine after. But, he's not for me. So my personal opinion, sell. But if you've got him, you might as well hold him because he'll be better.
Yeah, I'm the same, mate. Jar's so much more overhyped. I understand the points and the assists to be able to get those categories. Yeah, but if they're down and they get their full team fit and firing, yeah, I'm with you. I'd be trying to sell him for a top player. And you can always overget. Like that for the season, he's 94th. You could easily trade him for a top 60 player because people just love Ja Morant. What do you think about CJ McCollum?
I avoided him in a trade, and things have got worse since then in one of my leagues. So I'm kind of glad I did. It's also one where I'm punting field goal percentage, which that doesn't matter, but I need to be winning free throw percentage every week, and that just wasn't going to happen with him. There's so many pieces out on that team. Obviously Herb potentially, he's at least gone for the fantasy part of the season, so he's out of sight, out of mind for us. They had a guy on that team called Brandon Ingram. I don't even know what's going on with him. Ironically, he's probably still going to get a squill in shots. If you're happy to ride the highs and lows and get 8 points one game and then 50 points the next, and it all kind of comes out in the washes about what you see here, then good on you. But you've got to hold. You can't sell him unless you're a really good storyteller. You might have to wait till he hits another 50-point game. That's when I would have sold him 3 games. 2 weeks ago when he put up 50 and then followed it up with a 38 a few nights later. But hold for now.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. With Zion back, there's too much of the ball going to him and DeJounte. I just don't feel like CJ does enough everywhere else, and the percentages of the free throws just kill you. So stuff that. What about RJ Barrett, mate?
Yeah, that's a hole. You're right. You kind of hit the nail on the head when you said before that things are a bit tough for him when they've got their starting lineup. But how often is that happening? It just isn't. And the guy's had, he's been sick. He's had more family stuff on the back of family stuff last season. Like, I feel a bit sorry for the fella because he seems like a genuinely nice dude. And I think people still will have, like the other fantasy managers and owners will have PTSD from his New York days, and maybe that's starting to rear its head again over the last week that we've looked at these stats here. So I hold. I think I've got more hope for him than most in this list. So, if you had to put me down for someone who makes the biggest moves and shakes before we look back at them this time next week, I'd put me down for RJ.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, look, the free throws is obviously horrendous, but the counting stats are nice. And the positive thing about RJ is even when they have their whole lineup, the usage is still nice. So that's bloody good for RJ. Yes, Scotty's number 1, but he's a pretty close number 2 and still gets a lot of the shots. So fine by me. How about DeAndre Ayton?
He's a flog. Get rid of him. I honestly think it's nearly getting to the point where you just have to drop him. Like, he's thankfully is probably not the word I'm looking for, but with clinging out with your reserve center in Rob Williams being Rob Williams, who has he even played like 2 weeks straight in his career? It's not like he's just going to get phased out, but they just seem to be playing so many small ball lineups. Like they give 38 minutes a night to Kamara. And like I forget what it was yesterday. I've got him. I picked him up 2 teams this week to get the games from him. Good. And he shot took like 18 shots or something absolutely wild. So I think we're nearly getting to the point with Ayton where you just got to cup bait. But at least out of the guys on this list, because he's so trash, he'll probably be our biggest success story when we look back at him next week, just because the only way it could get worse is, I don't know, if he sat on the court and refused to do anything, which is pretty close to what he's doing now.
Yeah, he's pretty much doing that right now, but still I guess if you can trade him for anything until we find out what the hell's going on, like, with the whole center rotation, then piss him off. But I wouldn't be dropping him. I'd be looking for a trade for pretty much anyone that I could. At least he's not hurting you super badly anywhere. That's a positive there. It's just that it's just not getting much from any of your spots. But hopefully he'll bounce back and be better. And then we move on to our last man, Derek White. What are you doing there, mate?
He's good. That's the clearest one to see what's going wrong. Things aren't going well in Celtics land. As you said, 7-7 over the last 14. An absolutely pitiful percentage from three. That'll come back. Like, you look at what he is for the season. Like, what is he for the season on his percentages? They were pretty good. He is 440, 825 from the free, but 375 from 3-point that land. That's pretty good, especially when you're putting up 9 again and you're being able to hit over a third of them. So, he's a beast. I still like him. He's not getting phased out. He's having not a rough patch. Well, I guess it is a rough patch by absolute definition. He's not playing very well, but he'll be good. For someone who can still get you a steal and a block, basically locked in, guaranteed, while everything else is not going well. You got to hold on to someone like that.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Yeah, Derek White, definitely holding on to him. As you said perfectly there, he's the type of guard that gets the both defensive stats, which is hard to find for guards. So I guess you're just stealing the block. Bada bing, bada boom. Malley, that's Pimp My Guys, mate. I very much appreciate you jumping on again with me. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you like and just subscribe to all the good stuff. Put us out there so we can get up to as many people as we can. If you need us to pimp your guys, make sure you DM us on X and we'll pimp your guys for you. So very much appreciate you, Malley, and we'll see you guys next week.